Wannabeast. How you doing?
My legs are fine, as is the rest of me. Up here...
Whoa, she's got the fire of the cheetah in her.
So we just picked the ones we liked the best, the ones who we knew had more of a backstory.
There are a lot of really cool characters that we wouldn't have had time to work into the old format that we get to see animated, for the first time.
I think half the joy of watching the show is being able to pause it and look who's way in the background of that shot and say, look at that, that's Booster Gold hanging out with Gypsy back there.
Theoretically, John has some plan in mind when he teams up this one with that one, and their powers will complement each other, although often he does it for psychological purposes, so that one will teach another a lesson.
Sometimes there's clashes, sometimes there's fun, personality-wise, it's just fun to watch that go down, and that's where the drama is.
Why don't you take the stick out, Corporal?
Captain.
You've got Captain Atom, who's very military and does things by the book, on one side, and you've got Supergirl, who's impulsive on the other side, and it allows you to explore a lot of the internal conflict externally. When
we decide which members of the 40 will go off on an adventure, it's a little bit like cooking. If you don't know too much about cooking and you'd like to do it, what ingredients would go well together, and you kind of guess.
It's time to try a new path.
And what path is that?
Peace.
Not really my thing.
The casting process goes like this. Whenever we have a script come in, we'll sit down with Andrea Romano, who's our vocal and casting director, and we'll just start brainstorming ideas for the characters. Ultimately, we just try to cast who we think would be appropriate for the part.
No universe, however large, however small, is denied to me.
Leaving the Justice League was difficult for her. I provided her sanctuary, a place to meditate on her life and future.
Then we're looking at the big nightmare of nanotechnology. A machine that could build clones of itself out of atoms of anything.
They nail these characters. They understand them inside and out. They really, really do. And Andrea's really great at directing, and Bruce really knows exactly what he wants.
We're gonna use every bit of power we have left in our rings. Take one last shot at the android.
A blast like that could destroy half the planet.
Half a planet's better than none.
During the first 2 seasons, we stuck to dramas and a format that we didn't really want to violate too much. Big villains, big fights. And after 2 seasons of that, some of the writers just said, let's have a little fun now.
So some of the stories are quieter and some of the stories are simpler. And there's still some that are still quite epic. We're still managing to squeeze a whole lot of action into, a little 20-minute story. But it's definitely a much more open framework to generate story ideas.
The new format made it a lot easier to do more comedic episodes, which we kind of shied away from in the first 2 seasons of Justice League.
This was a lot of fun to us because it kind of really opened up the doors to the story possibilities of, featuring different characters, and we could do different kinds of stories. We had a lot of fun with that.
He's just a baby. That's all he needed.
Oh man, that ain't all he needs.
You can tell a comedy story. You can tell, kid stuff. It's a lighthearted story. I mean, it's got some kind of heavy, undertones, but you're able to tell these fun stories.
I like the idea of being able to do comedy. I mean, this little piggy it's just outrageous.
We'd never planned on having 3 comedies in the first season of Justice League. It just kind of happened that way.
Light 'em up!
In general, the people around here don't have to force themselves to be creative. They have to keep a lid on. And that lid was raised real high on JLU.
I really liked the show. I thought it was funny. I thought it was exciting.
All these characters, this new Watchtower, everything's hitting you so, so hard, so fast.
It's just a pageant of heroes. And to me, that was a lot of fun to see all of them.
It really doesn't get any better than that. That's just, that was a dream.
It's no holds barred at this point. All the gloves are off. You've got every single character you've ever wanted to see animated, you're now able to see.
Might get to, feed my, my inner geek fix and get to see some of these heroes that I've liked for, basically all my life. I get to see them animated and in action.